everybody, welcome to my channel. My name is Gianna and you are watching Just G Tuesday. So if you guys have been watching my channel for the past 3 years, my Tuesday segments have been called Teen G Tuesday. And Teen G is so much a part of my foundation, who I am. It's been my channel name forever. It's been all of my social names forever. And this year I'm turning 25 in August and my channel is turning 3 years old. So I decided that it is time to make a change. I am so excited about the way my channel looks right now, and I hope that you guys are too. If you haven't gotten a chance to look around and see what's new, if you guys don't follow me on Instagram, my Instagram is GiannaAlexis8, and you guys can go there to see I posted the last couple days some photos with the caption kind of talking about where I started as Teen G and where I want to go in the future, and I am just really excited about this change. This is really like authentically who I feel like I am. Of course I'm still gonna do Disney, of course I'm still gonna talk about cruise line and all of the things that make up who I am, but moving more towards sustainability, lifestyle vlogs, and just continuing on the path towards the future, I guess. I'm really excited. I also just really want to give a shout out to my friend Rye. I'm gonna link her down below. She also worked on cruise line, but she did everything for me for this rebranding. I have a really exciting video for you guys today. I posted on the community tab a few weeks ago and I asked if you guys had any questions for a worker working at Castaway. If you guys don't know what Castaway Cay is, it's Disney's private island. It's an island in the Bahamas, totally owned by Disney, and the only way to get there is by taking a Disney cruise. So it's pretty exclusive, very cool, and there's only a few people, like a little over 100 people that work on the island. So it was really amazing that I got Heath to do this interview, and he gave some incredible insight. You guys sent in a ton of questions, over 300 questions between Instagram and YouTube, and I compiled them into some questions to ask him, and I have a 3-part series for you guys. So we have 3 Just G Tuesdays that are gonna be my interview with Heath. Some are on a Zoom call, some are on a camera. I got some incredible information that I didn't even know, which is really, really cool, and I'm just excited to share it with you guys as my first Just G Tuesday video. So I hope that you guys like it. Let me know what you think of the name change down below, and I'm so excited to introduce Heath and my interview with him. Happy Just G Tuesday, everybody.
Hey everybody, it's Gianna, and I am super excited about today's video because I asked you guys on my community tab if you had any questions about island life. I know a lot of you guys were like wondering about the island, and today we have a real life Castaway Islander, Heath.
Hey everybody.
Little background, Heath and I embarked together. So we did like shoreside training together for those 3 days. The last time that I saw him was on the Dream, my last night. You were on the Dream too, remember? And
yeah,
we were at Crew Bar, and it was like February 2018 now? Yeah, so like 2 years ago, which is crazy. Yeah, can you just like give us some background on like why you wanted to work at Castaway and how that all started and like all of that good stuff?
So I had been lifeguarding before on lakes and at pools since I was like 16. And I just graduated from college and then done a season in Massachusetts working on a lake as a lifeguard. And I wasn't quite ready to necessarily like go into the real world, I guess. I wanted to take a kind of a gap year and do something a little bit different. And I still wanted to travel. There's places I wanted to go. I was actually applying for another company in a different sort of setting. It was also lifeguarding, but it wasn't anywhere like near the cruise industry. And it just popped up on some website, and I just thought like, oh, that'd be cool. I was never really like, we never went to Disneyland or Disney World as a kid. I wasn't like super into Disney. I honestly at first didn't even realize that's what it was. I just applied over the summer while I was working the other job, and within like 3 weeks they had sent me all of my details and everything, like this is when you're coming to Orlando, and I was super excited because I'd never been to Disney World. So that was my first time going to Disney World. Just kind of decided it was something that was cool to do, and I was glad I did it. And then I took a year off from working with Disney and did some other stuff. And then this winter, they contacted me actually because they were hiring guards for the winter season for 6 months. And they contacted me because I already like was exposed to everything. I had all my safety certificates for the ships and everything already done. So I was somebody that was pretty easy to bring back on. And I just got back home a little bit early, like about 3 weeks ago. I was supposed to be leaving actually a week from today. But because of the old COVID-19 thing and the island shutting down, the cruise line shutting down, I came back about a month early.
Yeah, so we got a lot of questions about like what life was like on the island while COVID-19 started happening. And I know you were there for like a minute when it started. Can you just like talk about that? What kind of happened and how you got sent home or all of that?
Yeah, so we got word that they were going to be shutting down for 2 weeks. We were kind of excited. It was something different. It was going to give us more free time. And then it turned into a month. And then we were like, okay, this is going to be kind of weird, like not having guests for a month. They were taking that time to do a lot of different projects on the island that was really hard to get done in the short periods we didn't have ships. That includes like fixing Serenity Bay from the hurricane damage, like putting more sand on the actual beach, because that was a big issue we were running into. Fixing the beach around the cabanas, that got moved around by the hurricane. So there was kind of a weird sandbar, and like at low tide, there wasn't very much water there. So just things like that. And then just general like upkeep. We were fixing a lot of stuff. We were doing some like kind of landscape work, just a lot of really odd jobs. Like you'd come to our meeting in the morning and kind of get an assignment for the day, and it could be a variety of things. Some were more fun than others. You know, we were having people do trainings and stuff, and then we were working still technically 10 hours a day, 6 days a week. So it's still a 60-hour work week, but we did get a little bit more time off in the evenings. Plus the days were getting longer. So we'd finish work around 4:30, 5 o'clock, and then we'd have, a couple hours to go for a swim, go kayaking, go paddleboarding, go tubing, or play with the jet skis, anything like that. So it was a little bit more relaxed. You didn't have to be in Disney look ever. You could wear what you wanted. You just kind of did random things around, and then everyone just kind of hung out in the evenings. So it was fun, but at the same time, it was very strange being there and knowing that there's going to be at least a month without anyone coming. So it was very weird, but fun time for us.
Did you have to be in Disney Look a lot when you were on the island, or only when you were working? I've never even thought about that.
Pretty much only when we had guests on. So there were certain things, even when we were in the quarantine time, like they still were making a shave and like little things like that. But like you could wear, flip-flops, t-shirts, you could have your shirt off, whatever. Even when we were like running as normal, as soon as 5 o'clock hits, that's when all the guests are back on the ship. That's when the ship's just pulling out. Like you didn't have to be in Disney Look from that point on. You were still working, but you didn't really have to like adhere to everything. Your shirt, most people's shirt were untucked. They had their hats on backwards, like things like that. As we're finishing our jobs, like there's no guests around, so they didn't really require it, which is nice.
How fun. Sounds like a lot more chill than the ship.
It's still, like cruise line, but it's definitely a much, much more relaxed environment, especially when we don't have guests on the island. Once 5 o'clock hits, they start, blasting the whistle with all the songs. That's when you kind of know, okay, like day's almost over. You can kind of relax and everything.
Okay, so this is my first question I asked on YouTube and on Instagram. We got a lot, so I wrote some down, and the first one is, a lot of people ask this. The first three are like the ones that I got the most questions for, and it was, what is your living situation like?
It's very similar to like a small dorm room, I would say, is like the best way to describe it. There's two different kind of living situations on the island. So there's what we call like new housing. Those are what you see like on some of the Disney videos. They're like the brightly colored they look like little houses. And so each one of those like buildings has 4 rooms in it, and everyone shares a room unless you're a manager or something like that. 2 people to a room, and those are much bigger. Those are the brightly colored ones. Then we have what we call old housing, which is where I live, both my contracts, which are the same situation. It's 2 people per room, but you share a bathroom with 2 other people. So it's 4 people per bathroom. It was kind of small, especially in the older ones. You had bunk beds, you had a small desk, a fridge, you had a sink in each room, and then like you shared a toilet and a shower. It was free, and it was close to the beach, and they cleaned it once a week for you. So I really didn't mind. The beds were comfortable, I thought. To give you an idea of where it is exactly on the island, it's where Cookie's Barbecue is. If you walk like directly behind Cookie's Barbecue, that's where what we call like the compound is going to be. It's where all the housing is. We have a gym. We have our crew mess area there, or like a rec room with pool and ping pong. And that's also where our store is. We call it a key. They were all numbered. So I was in key 27 for actually both of my contracts.
So when I was still living on the ship, Heath brought me to his key and like showed me around. And so I got to see it as well. He'll talk about this, I'm sure, at some point, but he got to go on the ship. What do you call it? Rotations?
Yeah.
So you got to experience both living situations, but I thought that the island was so cool, and like the space that he lived in was like so like fun because, well, one, you were on land, but I thought the room, it looked kind of like the cruise line room, right? With like the bunk beds, I feel like, but it was a little bigger.
It's a little bigger. And then when you go to the new housing ones, they are like huge compared to what you would get on the ship. They're like pretty good size. Like you have the bunk beds, but then they have 2 desks and like a sitting area. So like 2 big chairs. If you were friends with people that were living in that area, that's where I usually went and hung out just because it was a little bit, and it had a bigger TV, like random stuff like that. But I liked where I lived. I mean, it was fine. And you kind of have to work your way up to get into new housing, especially when you're a lifeguard. You have to be there for like a couple years until they like move you in there. It's kind of like a seniority thing.
Yeah.
So it is what it is, but it was fine for me.
What kind of food do you eat? And then is it better than on the cruise ship? So I know you've experienced both. I haven't experienced Castaway food besides like the crew food on Castaway days, but I've talked a lot in my videos about like how bad food is on cruise lines. So I think a lot of people are wondering because of that.
Yeah. I definitely thought, like you said, having experienced both worlds, I definitely thought our food on the island was way better. On the ship, they're having to like cater to a lot of different nationalities. We have a lot less nationalities, and I would say of everyone on the island, maybe like 40 or 50% are Bahamian. So they eat like a very similar kind of diet to us. There was always like a baked chicken dish. There was always some sort of beef, sometimes steaks. We sometimes had lamb chops, and there was always a lot of fresh fish. So we always
Lamb
had a grouper.
chops and steak?
Yeah.
I'm over you. I can't believe how
Look, they
bougie
weren't,
you're
look, I'm
living.
not saying they're the best steaks you've ever had, but it was still, you know, so we had, it was very similar to the ship. It was all buffet style. So you'd come in and they always had like a cold section with some like, you know, salads of some kind. Then you had like the whole hot menu with, you know, usually there's always a vegetarian option, a chicken, a fish, a beef, that kind of stuff. Sometimes we would do enhanced dinners, just like the ship. So the chefs would prepare something special, or the managers would put on a dinner. It just kind of depended. But I always enjoyed the food on the island. And when I went on the ship, I definitely was like a little bit more picky just because there wasn't as many things that I would eat. So I know what you're saying with the ship food. It's something you have to get used to. You have to like be creative and make your own kind of meal out of this, whatever they give you. But I always found on the island, the dishes they put out were pretty good.
I have to ask just because I'm curious. This isn't a question anybody else asked, but you know the banana bread that we got on Castaway days? Did you guys get that like a lot, or did you ever get that?
Yes, we did occasionally. We were very lucky because one of the chefs on the island is really good at making desserts. So they would always have like an ice cream, like a big thing of like hard ice cream, like chocolate, rum raisin, all that kind of stuff. Like they would switch out the flavor every day. And then they had some sort of baked or like cold dessert. So we were very, very spoiled with the desserts. Like we would get like chocolate covered strawberries, cannolis.
Oh my God.
Tons of different kinds of cakes, and they were all like freshly made. So we were, again, like kind of spoiled with that.
How many cast members live on the island?
About 150. It kind of depends on what time of year it is. In the summer, it's a little bit less because there's less lifeguards. But in the winter, they do hire extra lifeguards because it's, you know, having more ships. People get hurt, people get sick, things happen more often in the winter. So they hire a few more of us, but it hovers around 150-ish. Are
you pretty like tight knit with a lot of people, or do you kind of have your group, like our lifeguards, closer? You probably know everybody on the island, right?
Yeah, you kind of have seen everyone around. It's kind of like the ship, you know, like certain departments kind of hang with certain departments. There was occasionally they would do like parties or all crew events, and people would get together. With the schedule that we all are on, and like some departments are on different schedules, like the lifeguards are all on the same schedule, but it's kind of a demanding schedule. It wasn't like the ship where it was like every night there was like people going and doing stuff. It was much more like laid back, very chill, like very early nights compared to the ships. That was something you kind of had to get used to when we would go on the ship. Was like the first couple of days we would be like in bed asleep by 10 o'clock, and everyone's either just finishing work or just getting, you know, going out and meeting all their friends, and then they're up till all hours of the night, which doesn't really happen on the island, to be honest.
It's like a 24-hour operation on the ship, so like people are up always.
Yeah, like we would finish work sometimes at 10 o'clock on the ship when the pools would close. And for us, that's insane because
super late,
we never finished work after like 6 o'clock. You know, it kind of depended on how quickly we did things, what ship we had, how many guests there were, that sort of thing. But rarely was it after like 6:30. So for us, it was like a late night to be up past 11.
So the next question is, what is your schedule like? But also like my question is, do you guys have like a set schedule where it's like you're doing this on this day, or like you're lifeguarding on this day? Or do you kind of like come together in the morning and you're like, okay, you're going to be on this beach, or you're going to be over here?
We have the same times we work every day. There's 2 types of days on the island. There's a call day, which is obviously like when we have a ship in, and then there's a pre-call day, which is the day before a ship comes in. So on a call day, you're going to get your schedule the night before. They like put a big stack of paper schedules in the mess. And so when you go to dinner, you can pick it up. And that tells you where you're going to be like the next day. So it'll have your morning duties. It'll have your like where you're going to lifeguard, or if you're going to go to a rental location, or if you're going to be on boat beach renting stuff, or whatever you're going to be. Or sometimes they put you in the back where you're just fixing stuff, doing random jobs. You're not even out in front of guests. You're completely backstage. So it just depends on the day. You kind of rotate through, like some days you're lifeguarding, some days you're doing this. They try to keep it different. Every day we have a shift starts at 6 o'clock. So you have to be ready to go in the meeting spot at 6 a.m. And then you do your morning duties from like 6 to about 7:30, 7 o'clock, depends on what it is. And then you get a break from whenever you finish those till 8 o'clock or 8:10 when you have to be on your stand if you're lifeguarding or wherever, ready to go. And then you lifeguard all day. And then you have different times that certain things start happening at the end of the day to start packing everything up and cleaning everything up. And then, like I said, we usually finish around 6:30, depending on how quick everyone is, if it was a big ship or a small ship. And then on a pre-call day, you get to your job in the morning. So everyone meets at 7 o'clock. They kind of break you up into teams. And there's like a set number of teams that's like, they do every single pre-call, cleaning the beach and fixing bikes, going out into the lagoon, making sure all the snorkeling stuff is, looking nice, and all the lifeguard stands are in proper working order, that kind of stuff. There's certain jobs that get done every single day. Then there's certain like special projects, we call them, that, maybe something's broken, needs to get fixed. We need to replace a pole, or just anything that needs to get done. They'll just kind of divvy it up and get it done. And then those days usually end 5:30, depending on how quickly everyone does their job. But it's not like a set schedule.
Do you feel like when the smaller ships are coming in, it's like less work, or it's the same amount of work but different?
So like in the morning, everything's the same. And even lifeguarding, it's a little bit noticeable. There's less people in the water. There's less stuff getting rented. And then at the end of the day is where you really notice it, because you go down the beach and we basically have to pick up everything that's on the beach and move every chair that's like out of order, out of line, back into where it's supposed to go. So we do like multiple sweeps to the beach where everyone's picking up chairs, putting down umbrellas, all that kind of stuff. And you definitely notice on those days that there's less stuff laying around, there's less trash to pick up, that sort of thing. As far as like actually working during the day, it's like kind of hard to tell the difference until you get to the end of the day. The classic ships are 2,500 and the newer ships are 4,000. So it's 1,500 more people
it's a big
coming
difference.
off, which makes a difference. Yeah, for sure.
Do you get to leave the island and visit the neighboring islands?
Yes. We are able to take the crew boat that brings the local people across to work. It runs every day. On our day off, we are allowed to take it over to Abaco Island, Great Abaco, and it docks in a place called Sandy Point, which is on the very southern tip of Abaco. And then you can rent a car and then drive up to Marsh Harbor, which is like the main city. Unfortunately, Marsh Harbor was pretty much destroyed completely by Hurricane Dorian.
Wow.
So there's not like a whole lot to do. There used to be a load of restaurants and bars and yacht clubs and stuff that you could go and visit and hang out for the day. We went this past contract in February for our day off, and there's a couple spots that are okay. There's a couple beaches just because we wanted to get off the island. We were kind of, just wanted to see something different. And we drove up in through Marsh Harbor and it was still very, very much destroyed. They're making good progress. There's a lot of people, a lot of humanitarian people, a lot of contractors stuff rebuilding, but it's going to take a while. So now not really an option to go. But we did it anyway, just to see, because we wanted to see it and kind of see how people were getting along. And it's pretty bad still. So it's going to be a while before it's kind of back up and running as normal, but you are able to do that if you want.
That's crazy. And your first contract, your parents came, right? And they visited Marsh Harbor, and then you got to go visit them there?
Yeah, 2 years ago. I was able to get 2 days off because I went back to back. So our week ends on Saturday. So I was able to take Saturday and Sunday off. So it was 2 separate weeks. So I got 2 days off basically, and I was able to go off the island on Friday night on the last boat run. And my parents chose to go on vacation in Abaco, and so they drove down on Friday night and picked me up from the boat, and then we hung out for the weekend. And then I took the boat back, which was cool.
Yeah, that's so nice. I love that. That's like a great option, I mean, like, it's cool that it got to happen.
Exactly. They were supposed to come this year, but obviously with the hurricane, a lot of the places that they wanted to stay at weren't opened up again, and a lot of the places they wanted to go weren't fully ready to have tourists back in.
You had mentioned, like, in the beginning of this, that the boat, it tenders in people from that island as well? Yeah.
So every day there's people that work in a variety of departments that come across from Sandy Point and work for the day, and they take the boat back in the afternoon. It takes about 45 minutes to get one way.
So that was the end of part 1. I hope that you enjoyed it. I'm really, really excited to show you part 2 and 3. I know that that was jam-packed with information, and he talks much more about life at Castaway in the next 2 episodes. So I am very excited to share that with you. Thank you guys so much for watching. Thank you for asking for this content. If you want any other videos, please go ahead and ask for them down in the comments below. Make sure to follow me on my socials so that you can stay up to date with everything going on. And I will see you guys on Friday. Bye!